Hey everybody, welcome to RPG Mastery. My name is Nick Newman, and today's episode is a brief one about the number one Game Master mistake you can make as a Game Master, Dungeon Master, whatever you want to call yourself. But this thing right here, this one rule could be the reason or the difference between you being a good Game Master or never playing a game with your friends again. And it's one that's oftentimes overlooked because people consider the Game Masters or the Dungeon Masters above the rules because of Rule Zero, which Rule Zero basically implies that Game Masters have final call in all rules, no matter what the books say or the rules say. But this number one mistake is so serious that I had to make a video about it, explaining and trying to save you guys out there who don't know about this, or maybe you have a bad GM or a bad experience with a Game Master, and you realize, or maybe you're not sure why. The number one mistake that a Game Master can make is metagaming against your own players. Now, I don't know if people know that that's possible, but it is. I don't know if you've ever heard about metagaming against your own players, but it happens quite frequently, and oftentimes people are more proud of it than they consider it maybe taboo. But for me, it's definitely a taboo, and if you're not sure what metagaming is, it's something that we'll cover a lot on this channel. But metagaming is essentially any strategy, action, or method used in a game which transcends a prescribed rule set, uses external factors to affect the game, or goes beyond the supposed limits or environment set by the game. Another definition refers to the game universe outside of the game itself. So this is using knowledge outside of the game to affect the game itself. And you may think that that's impossible if you're the Game Master, but it's not. Every time a player tells you a specific ability or some kind of power they've set up or points that they have taken or invested in their character to use for specific circumstances, they're telling you meta information. Because as a Game Master, you're responsible for all elements inside the world, all the NPCs that affect the players and interact with them, and those NPCs don't have knowledge of those players' powers unless they're gods or maybe they've interacted with them in the past. But I'll give a prime example of this, and I saw it in a comment from my top 10 spells for Wizards and Sorcerers video. Inside the video, I suggested that players use the contingency spell to set up a teleport effect on themselves. So if they get struck or hit, the character could maybe teleport to the right X amount of feet that was predetermined, or teleport up in the air or down or wherever they wanted to go. Or maybe they could set the teleport to a specific location. Like if I was a wizard, I could set a contingency teleport on myself, and the contingency would be that if I got struck or harmed in any way, I'd be teleported back to my wizard tower. And one of the comments said, basically, I'm not sure if it was a joke or it was serious, but if it was serious, it's a big alert for a bad Game Master. But basically, this person commented that a bird flies from the air, gets mad, attacks you, you teleport 500 feet to the left, and it happens to be at the edge of a cliff, and you fall to your death. So this is a perfect example of metagaming, and I can say that specifically because I know a lot of kooky things happen in D&D and Pathfinder or whatever rule system you run, but a situation so specific, if a player ever catches the scent of a DM using knowledge that players in the world should know against them, that will completely destroy a campaign for a player. They lose the trust in the Game Master, and they probably won't play again. So the bottom line is, people play D&D to have fun. And if your idea of fun as a Game Master is to dominate and win in a sort of competitive state where it's you against the players, you're not going to have a good time. You might have a good time for one session, but then people will never play with you again. And so that is my number one taboo as a game master. I want my players to be able to trust me with secret information. And a good way to think about it is, if you are a game master, you would imagine that the game is kind of like an episode of a TV show. Every session is an episode of a TV show. And in that TV show, sometimes you get glimpses of actions on both sides of the world, what the enemies are doing and what the heroes are doing. And as a game master, you can anticipate those things and get excited for the possible reactions that are going to happen. But if you allow NPCs to have items or knowledge that counteract something that makes a player character feel special, you're not doing your job as a GM. You're really going to ruin the experience for them. To have, for example, in one of my campaigns, we have a character who is a mind control mage, essentially. And as a GM, it can be challenging because every NPC I introduce to the group, I know that there is a chance that that NPC will have their mind controlled and turned into a slave, and have the knowledge ripped from their minds, so on and so forth. But now, unless it is a god, unless it is a character that is not susceptible to such attacks or mental, or mental attacks, I will allow that to happen. And that makes her happy as a player because she's getting to play her character the way she wanted to play that character. But in the future, if she ever messes up and uses this power on an NPC that survives, word can spread that she has this ability. And then people in the future that meet her, as her fame increases, can maybe put on, mind blank bans or something akin to that. They can protect themselves preemptively, and that can create more challenges for her as a character. But I will never go as far as completely undermining the effort of my players, because you want to capture the immersion of your players and you don't want to be against them. I think great GMs get pleasure out of finding or watching and anticipating what characters might do, not setting them up in constant situations where they can fail just to stroke their own ego. And that's the main thing. A good game master puts his ego on the side, because it's all about the story, and it's about being a viewer and living vicariously through the characters and their crazy fun interactions with the world you created. So, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. It really, I've got 76 subscribers currently, and it's growing, and I'm just completely blown away that so many people that I don't know are interested in watching my content. So if you really, really like my stuff, check out my Patreon at ExitVerve, which the link will be below. And please comment, like, and subscribe, and tell me if you think that maybe there's another Game Master mistake that's even worse than metagaming against your own players. Thank you. This is Nick Newman with RPG Mastery, and remember to stay calm and roll 20.